We should be streaming live in about 5 seconds here. You are tuned to the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. You're listening to episode 4 of the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. I'm Sooltime, and I'm joined by Salliebug. Salliebug, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. I hope that everything's going out to the video live. We're having some technical difficulties over here once again, but we shall prevail.
I am on the YouTube channel here, so I can participate with the chat, and
okay,
I'm
excellent.
having a hard time getting it to come up. So,
yeah, and if anybody does join us and they can't hear one of us or have any sound level feedback, is much appreciated for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know.
Yeah, so this is episode 4. I think we've got a couple of things we want to address today, and but I'd like to start out by asking you, Salliebug, what have you been up to since last Saturday?
Well, mostly Iron Banner.
Iron Banner.
Yeah, so I didn't play this much this weekend. I was away, as from the last podcast, if you listened to it, saw that I was remote.
I'm calling it.
So for the most part, if you can, especially if you're not a PvP player, per se, like it's not a mode that I would just go and choose to do. Oh, you know what? I just want to go into PvP. That's not who I am. I'd rather just go and shoot aliens. They have a much worse aim than PvP players. So.
Not worse than mine.
That's true, or mine for that matter. And some of them are actually quite good. But anyway, I digress. No, so I guess I wasn't going to do Iron Banner, but then I realized that some of them, like just capturing the zones, if I could stay alive long enough to do it, some of those, the 4 bounties that Saladin has are all pinnacle gear, and
enticing.
3 of the 4, I'm going to say 2 of the 4 are pretty readily available, even if you're playing at a kind of casual level.
Yeah.
Again, you and I are in the glorious summer months where we have more time to grind.
And it is a grind. That's the perfect word for it, right?
And that kind of is, especially if it's not a mode that you really enjoy that much. The funny thing is, and I don't know what changed, it might be the matchmaking situation, which we're going to get into later in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But something changed along the way, because I can remember really liking Iron Banner, like even not liking any other PvP modes. Mm-hmm. I really liked Iron Banner. There was something about it that was just fun. You could go with a group. I'm definitely kind of an assist type player, so I would just kind of like run with the pack and get a few shots in and not worry, because I'm never worried about what my what my KD is or my KDA. I don't pay attention to those things, but I had fun in it.
Well, what's your ELO?
My ELO is so low, I don't even know.
Oh,
no, I don't.
That was clever.
That was clever. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if it's because we're doing a podcast on Destiny now, but it seems like your approach to Iron Banner was kind of technical and statistical, and I saw you taking notes. What was up with that?
I did, and part of this is, again, for almost at the skill-based versus connection-based, because I really hadn't. Once that shifted, I was even less motivated to go into Crucible matches. So I felt like I needed to spend enough time in there to feel like from a scientific approach, right? From a scientist's point of view, you need to do things more than just a couple of games to say, oh yeah, well, you played like 3 games and got mercied and then quit. And that isn't enough data to really have a say in the situation. So I felt like I needed to play enough games to say, okay, I played enough games that I feel like my experience is, especially since Iron Banner, you were looking at my stats online on a third-party website, and Iron Banner is definitely the mode that I play the most.
Well, you did this past couple of days, I would say. God, at least 20 to 30 games, more than 30 games.
Well, yeah, I played a ton the last couple of days, but even prior to that, like, it was like I wouldn't touch PvP, and then Iron Banner would roll around. It comes around like once a month, is that right? Am I right with that?
Yeah,
it comes
something
around
like
about
that.
Once a month.
Something like that.
It's nice that Bungie has kind of come up with, oh, this is a mode. These are some bounties, a good way to get kind of some pinnacle gear if you're kind of behind the level grinding. However, Iron Banner is level enabled, so you're also at a disadvantage. It's great if you can do it, but if you're already like 20 to 30 light levels or power levels low, and you're doing it to try to get the pinnacle gear so that you can grind up.
Yeah. We could talk about how it was in the past, and I do remember having a lot of fun in Destiny 1 with Iron Banner, and it was like the one PvP thing that you and I tended to want to jump into, and I think one of the cool things was everything that dropped was leveling you up back in the day. And that's no longer the case. That's no longer the case. It wasn't
just doing the bounties, right?
Yeah, it was leveling up.
It wasn't just doing the bounties.
It was a good way for us to level up without doing other end game activities. And, and they used to have different modes, too. It wasn't just control. I seem to remember there being different modes.
Was there? I thought it was always control. I know they
I seem to remember it being Clash, at least at times.
And was it ever like, well, that would be Destiny 1 when there was other modes. I don't know. I'm going to ask the chat.
Speaking of the chat, we've got Funny Bone in the house today, and he mentions rolling with the statistics to eliminate bias, because definitely with a game mode with anything where there's emotion involved, you can get, your perception can go off the charts. And Funny Bone mentions it's easy to lose 3 in a row and think that either you're doing something wrong or the game is broken. So gathering those numbers, gathering the evidence is super important. So what's the results? Let's hear the results.
I can put that out. I actually don't have my book in front of me. Isn't that funny? But I remember it. The first 3 games we played were mercied.
I'm calling it.
Yeah, they were.
In fact, I joked they should rename Iron Banner to I'm Calling It, right? Or Mercy. Yeah, I want to play some Mercy. Yeah, let's go play Mercy. That's it seemed like that anyway. It seemed like, I would say, so overall it was that first 3 games.
So the first 3, I think the first one we won. However, it was like you and I got like maybe 2 and 3 kills, and the top guy on our team got 35. And that's why
full disclosure,
calling it.
Full disclosure, we were killing many birds with one stone by doing that Destiny thing where you're working on catalysts and doing a bounty and a quest all at the same time, right? So I'm going in there with weapons I might not necessarily be comfortable with, just to try to complete some quests and some bounties and some catalyst stuff, right? So we're not at our best. Let's put it that way.
Well,
we're already not at our
best. And because all of those quests have been sitting in my quest vault for who knows how long, because
years
they require
now.
You to be killing guardians, and I don't do PvP that often. So I thought, all right, I'm not really collecting the Iron Banner armor. We've talked about the armor grind but in the past and how it's just not worth it. So like it or not, like the looks of it or not, it was just I'd had it for a long time, so it wasn't new to me, and I wasn't I just wasn't motivated to level up a whole nother set of gear. So even though it's dropping, and the gear does drop at pretty nice levels, that's the
60.
Thing that
I was
do.
Getting 63, 60 plus.
All above 60s. So good level. But I just decided, and this was.
But who's got the infusion items to level it up, right? I'm already working on other things.
I was going to work on a certain set of gear. I was going to pick 5 or 6 sets at the most, and Iron Banner got the cut. So I wasn't going after those. So if I did get it, I would just infuse. If I got a pinnacle piece, I would just infuse it into one of the pieces that I'm keeping.
Right.
But
so the first 3 games.
The first 3 games, and so anyway, we did. We
Saladin
decided,
was calling it.
We have these quests in it, mostly for catalysts, right? We have these quests for these catalysts that require. So we said, okay, well, you decided to do fusion rifles. I would never do that. I don't think I'm good enough with a fusion rifle.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So yeah, we went outside the meta. However, not really, because one of the ones I was going after was saying I really want to get Randy's throwing knife just to have it. And
I was going for 3 or 4 catalysts at the time.
Right. I really like scout rifles. So, and Mida is one of those guns that I will pull out and use, because I'd rather sit in the back and try to take pot shots at people, far away from me, than do close up encounters.
Cool. So what's the problem with 3 mercies in a row?
So the first one was mercy. The second 2 we were mercied, but
what's wrong with that?
Had the top guy, right? And most of the time, and I kind of, there's 12 people playing. I can't look at all. I didn't screenshot every single one and analyze all the data. So I kind of
then I don't want to hear about it then.
I just pared it down to how many kills I got, what my KD, or what Bungie said my KD. Oh no, what Bungie said my efficiency was. I'm not sure what efficiency is compared to KDA, but I know it's a little different.
KDA, efficiency, ELO, it's all just numbers. It's all just a bunch of crap.
I I just looked at how many kills I got versus how many kills the top player, whether it was the top player on the winning team or the losing team, just the one who got the most kills, and kind of compared the two, because most of the time I was either bottom of the table or bottom mid table. And so I just compared the two. Most games, so those three, and things leveled out. Bungie would say, we're breaking up those teams. And after the 3 mercies, the next, 10 or so games or whatever we played in that session, they were more leveled out. The discrepancy wasn't as big. So like the first one, it was like he or she got 35 kills and the efficiency was like 17, maybe even more. And mine was like 2 or 3 and my efficiency was like 0.4. But eventually it leveled out to, usually the top player was at like 19 or 20, sometimes 25, and I was closer to like that 8 to 10 range.
Okay, so that brings up a good point. Over time, there is an algorithm, and they say there isn't skill-based matchmaking, but there kind of is in a way, because after the mercy, you usually get that little strip along the bottom that says we're arranging these teams, right? So what they're doing is they're rearranging the group of people that are matched into sort of more even teams, which is a form of skill-based matchmaking if you think about it, right?
Well, and Funny Bone is in the
chat,
so I'd love to, because we know that he's a bit of a math and numbers guy. It'd be nice to get his input on this. My understanding of it is they're doing connection-based matchmaking, right? So my understanding is when they say they're breaking up the team, they say, okay, this many people are playing this scenario, this group of 12 was not a good match, so we're just going to throw them all in the pot, stir them up together, and scoop out another 12 and see how that works.
Well,
that's my understanding of what's happening.
I agree with you. It's probably random, because how else could you get 3 mercies in a row with pretty much, unless a bunch of people leave, right? And then the game doesn't have a clue what your KD is or what
I think that's
what level you're
because just like Funny Bone had said earlier on in the chat, was saying easy to lose 3 and think you're personally doing something wrong. I think there are people who say, oh, I'm going to give Iron Banner a try this time around, go in, get Mercy 3 in a row and go, yeah, no thanks. Like that's as much as they'll give it. I see that Stego is in here, but I cannot hear him. Shall we?
Hello, testing, testing.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, there he
Welcome,
is.
Greenstego.
Sorry.
Nice to hear from you. Nice to see your icon back on the board.
Hello, Sooltime and Salliebug.
I would love to hear your
back.
take on this. Have you played any Iron Banner this week?
I have not played any Iron Banner this week, and I've been, you guys talking about the Iron Banners of old got me reminiscing the couple of times that we had in Destiny 1.
Yep.
With the different game modes. Because with Destiny 2, they did change it so it was only control.
It was just going around, and I like that idea, like the whole lighting the fire and getting control and all of that. However, it's just, I don't know, I miss, and I actually put this in the chat, I miss Supremacy. Going invisible, because I'm usually an invis hunter, I'm usually top tree hunter, and the going invisible and picking up all the orbs was like my favorite thing to do. I'm not good at shooting a thing, but if other people can shoot and get those orbs on the ground, I'll go invis and go pick them up.
Now you have to settle for getting a control point.
I think Supremacy is in the comp playlist though, or it's in the rotator anyway. I should keep my eye out for when it comes.
Good point.
So
it's either in the like that weekly rotation, or it might be in classic mix. I haven't really played. I don't play PvP that much, and I'm with you. I do usually enjoy playing Iron Banner. Usually after enough games, I'm able to get all of the bounties if I use the meta weapons like 600 RPM auto rifles and a good shotgun or something along those lines. But,
I'm calling it.
Yeah.
That's all I heard.
A question I did have: did you when you were getting Mercy ruled and you were queuing up another match? Was it the same group of 12 Guardians, but just like rearranged?
For the most part.
I think sometimes, like I would go, okay, they just said they were breaking up new teams, but we're against that guy again. You know, the one guy who's like going around shotgunning me with.
So there's always one guy who has like
right?
30 to 40 kills, and everybody else has like 5 to 8. That's what it seemed like. And the guy who had the 40 kills was the team that got up to 60 or 70 points within the first minute. and I'm calling it. He mercies the game. It's frustrating. I don't mind it, except for it seems like when you're getting mercied over and over again, you're spending equal amounts of time, at the very least, matching in orbit and then flying down through that tunnel as you are playing the game. So it's like, mostly matching and flying through the tunnel of light. It's like half that, and then half playing Iron Banner. So it's like, it shouldn't be that way.
It's definitely not as fun losing over and over again. And I think we've brought this up before.
Well, that's match.
Definitely
that's
highlighted right now with the mixing of high skill players versus average and low skill players. Where there's just not as much time to really even understand what it is that you're doing wrong, because...
So we haven't quite gotten into the... We're still technically talking about just Iron Banner right now, right?
No, we've moved on to skill-based matchmaking versus connection-based, because Greenstego brought it up, and I think it's a perfect transition.
So this is what I'm gonna say. Is the argument I hear for people who don't want skill-based matchmaking in a casual type of playlist is that they just want to go in and have a good time. A lot of the streamers are multitasking, they're interacting with chat, they're talking about other things. It's a casual experience, and they want it to stay a casual experience. They don't want to feel like they're in like this sweaty hardcore match every single time. And I get that. I totally get that. I understand that. From the point of view of someone on my skill level, that's what every match feels like. Regardless, I mean, I can go in. If I go in with a more casual attitude, like that, like what they're saying, I could die most of the time. Like my KD and efficiency would be even lower than it's under 1. It's definitely not positive for those of you who are interested. And so, from a mediocre to low skill end, what if I just want to go in and casually chat with my friends and play the game mode? That's not available to me. That I have to concentrate. I have to be careful with which guns I choose. I have to be I like have a little more thought process in where am I going to go? Is this a sniper lane? I'm not quite sure. Do I go around this corner? You know, I just died. Where are all the blueberries? What's the safest way to get to them? And can I get to them without dying? Et cetera, et cetera. So I can't have that casual without skill-based matchmaking. I can't have a casual experience.
Mm-hmm.
2 words, Salliebug.
I don't have an avenue for me unless I go into the competitive list.
Two words, Salliebug. Get good.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think that it may be worth experimenting with the competitive
absolutely
playlist.
Yeah.
The competitive
and that's our next thing on the list, because Salliebug and I both need to get some glory rank for some quests and catalysts. So yeah, that's next. Maybe next week we'll talk about our experience with competitive.
Yeah, maybe going into, because I have not spent a lot of time in there. One thing I did want to say about our Iron Banner experience, and yes, wear it with pride because it's pretty beautiful gear, the Trials gear, but almost every match the top players had Trials gear on.
Mm-hmm.
And the Summoner. I got killed by the Summoner over and over again.
Which is a Trials weapon as well. And Sooltime, you and I
we played Trials for the first time, didn't we?
And played Trials. We played how many games? 8, right?
Yep. 8 matches to get the 10 games in, just to get the to earn that one bounty that gave us the shotgun last night.
You get that one piece, which is actually kind of cool that there is a bounty that you can do, and you can get a weapon.
Was it an enjoyable experience?
No, it was a shit show.
The shotgun.
No, it was not an enjoyable experience.
It delivered on our expectations. Let's put it that way.
Again, Sooltime, you went to a
DestinyTracker.com.
You went to a Destiny Tracker, and it actually rated that our team versus the team that we were up against, and most of the time they had a 90 to 100% chance of beating us every time.
96% or 100% chance of beating us.
I mean, it's like,
based on their
why
elos.
Why are we going up again? That's one of those things about skill-based matchmaking. Why would we be going up against, especially in a system like Trials, why would we be going up against a team that has 100% chance of beating us?
Especially with a fresh card,
and
with a fresh card. It's one thing to have a fresh card and say, okay, anybody with a fresh card will go up against with anybody else with a fresh card. But should I really be going up against someone who's been to the lighthouse like 50 times? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of I'm wondering what kind of ways that they could address Trials, because it seems like with last week's reward being the Summoner and this week's reward being the shotgun,
right, they
really are trying to encourage people, or sorry, not the reward, the first reward at 3 wins / with the bounty.
Right.
They're really trying to encourage players to go in and give it a try.
Because player population is down in that game mode. People have left.
And that's going to particularly polarize the average and lower skill player experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the players who are leaving. Those are the players who aren't playing anymore. So they're the ones who you're not going to match up against because they're just not there.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like it compounds itself, right? Because the more casual players that leave, the sweatier it gets. The more account carries and the more $50 lighthouse advertisements you see, the more cheating on PC, especially.
Well, account carries is also cheating, technically. So.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, Hold on just a second. I'm just going to say that streamers, and this is from Fractious Heart, streamers and other high-tier players also want a playlist to play test non-meta weapons. I think how wide or narrow the sandbox is affects the need for skill-based matchmaking. Very good point. Connection-based matchmaking is more like a tournament style, in that you could get paired against a hard opponent very early on and just not able to advance. If that analogy makes sense, yes, it does. That's another very good point. Well, that makes sense.
Point. So that's the thing. It's like, so we go into what's technically a casual playlist. I'm not going to say Iron Banner is a casual playlist, but let's just say I was just doing regular control. I go into regular control, and if it's like a tournament, it's like if you're not good enough, you're just going to like always be bottom of the table. And I just go in there and just say, okay, I'm just going to be bottom of the table. I'm going to just play my 3 games to get my pinnacle gear and then be done with it. And there's certain times and certain weeks I just don't do it because I just don't feel like getting crapped on.
Yeah, pub stomp.
And, you know, I don't know what the answer is, because I understand both points of view, but what do they do? Because the point is that, and I think Sooltime, you were alluding to this, is your player pool is going to continue to get lower. Like, how can they incentivize someone like me to play more? Not because, and you said that whole thing, get good. It comes through the Twitter feed all the time. Spend more time trying to get better. This is and someone responded and did very well. It's like, look, I'm a casual player. I'm a 45-year-old father of 4. I don't have the time, and this is supposed to be what I do in my free time. I get 3 or 4 hours of free time a week. I don't want it to be homework and another work to try to quote unquote get good. I just want to go in and have a good time like you guys are, and I can't do that because I don't have an avenue.
On the one hand, my answer to him is just go play PvE. You've got that part of the game. But on the other hand, this is our sort of hobby, and what's good for the franchise is good for us. And let's face it, Destiny is here today in large part due to the Destiny 1 trials, and that's PvP. So the health of PvP is important to a fan of the game like me overall. You know what I'm saying?
And again, and that's why I like the feedback of people in the chat, because I know that my view is a bit skewed in that.
A bit?
Like, what do they do? What does Bungie do to keep players like me, keep those mediocre to / lower end players playing, so that your player population is still at a healthy time? Because this has happened. We've seen this ebb and flow before with the Crucible. And that is, they put in skill-based matchmaking, everything gets really sweaty, the top-end players don't want to play anymore because every match is feels like this top-end tournament style playing, and players at like our skill level or my skill level, we'll just only talk about my point of view, just end up dropping out and just not playing. Like I said, like earlier when we were talking about Iron Banner, those first 3 matches were mercied, and some people may only have 30 minutes to put. That was about 30 minutes. Some people may only have, like, well, I've got an hour I can play before the kids start waking up or before we go off and do whatever we're going to do for the day. And that's all they have. It's like, yeah, you know what? the last time I played Iron Banner, I got Mercy the 3 games that I played. And I'm not sure we brought this up, but many of the other games we played were not close at all. It was like 125
they might as well have been
to
Mercy.
60.
Right.
Right.
Might as well
like that, more than double the people who won. And we were on the losing side, I want to say maybe about 60 to 70% of the time. 60.
See, that's your perception. According to Destiny Tracker, we looked up the Iron Banner experience for you, and I think it was like 50-50. It was like 54% wins. That's total. Right. Okay.
That's total Iron Banner from the start of me
I see what you're saying.
Like
you were just
ago.
isolating the lopsided games. Okay.
No, I was just I was isolating the last 2 days. In the last 2 days, I think I was on the losing end. But
it was for Iron Banner the last 2 days. It was 54% win.
Oh, well.
Win-loss, yeah.
Yeah, maybe your perception's a little different.
Of course. I'd like to.
It's gonna be. Your perception is gonna be affected by, if the onset of your play session is a bunch of losses in a row.
Sure.
That's just gonna be, the way that your brain kind of downloads that data.
Right. So it helps to do what Salliebug did, was tabulate the data, and also you can go to sites like Destiny Tracker and see, like, okay, I just played 30 matches of Crucible. What are the stats? And it's like, wow, I didn't realize I won 50% of the time. Or I didn't realize I did that well or that poorly in this or that category. It's interesting. I'd like to take a moment. A new segment in the podcast is the coffee break segment, where we take a little sip of coffee here. Greenstego, are you drinking coffee?
I've got an iced coffee.
Oh, you have an iced coffee. What's the quality?
The quality is very good. The other day, I found myself wanting coffee and not having any brewed. And so I went into the fridge and got some coffee that I had purchased. Thank you. And here it is.
Nice.
And purchased some pre-brewed cold brew coffee from my local grocer, H-E-B.
Okay, is it a particular flavor, or is it just generic coffee? Or
it is black and bold.
Black and bold, okay. Salliebug, have you got coffee with you?
I actually need to get a refill, so I'm going to step away. Are you going to put on our little coffee break music?
I already did, but I'll put it on again while you're getting the refills. And then Daniel and I think, are going to segue into our last topic of the day, which is the Solstice celebration, brought to you by Ava Levante in the Tower.
Fair warning, I might bring up the whole skill-based matchmaking thing again.
Oh no!
or
maybe you shouldn't have any more coffee.
Minimally trials. So, all right, I'll be right back.
Okay. So, Greenstego, have you actually had the opportunity to look into what's coming next Tuesday for the Solstice of Heroes celebration?
Briefly, the armor looks very cool. The loot looks very cool. In terms of unlocking the top tier chase armor, I don't know that that's something that I'll be doing.
That's exciting, the first part of what you were talking about, because the stuff does look really cool, but also a little sad, that second part. You seem a little demotivated in terms of pursuing that aspirational armor and armor glow. Can I ask why? What dissuaded you, or what?
It's the trials.
Oh, man. So we haven't talked about this yet, but Salliebug and I have had this conversation, and we are kind of bummed out about that. We watched a streamer lamenting over the gambit that he would need to play. And we're just looking at this and kind of lamenting over that 7-win requirement. Well, we played 8 games and won none of them. And that was with a pretty good, we played with Ghost, our good friend, across the pond. And he tried carrying us, the best he could. But and we almost won one of the matches, but couldn't quite pull it off,
Yeah.
So, Salliebug, I don't know if you heard, but Greenstego's just expressing dismay over the trials requirement for a complete magnificent armor set that glows. Now, you can get the magnificent armor set, I don't think that's...
Okay, so I actually spent some time...
How does this work? Salliebug?
Funny enough, I sent a tweet out. And I never tweet, but I did a tweet.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of
Twitter.
at Bungie saying, please reconsider the trials requirement because I'm demotivated to try to even go in there and do anything. Because again, the grind for a nice set of armor is already almost so out of reach. But if I just want to have it to put on when I'm like going out and doing casual stuff and the glow, and it looks like really great armor. And it's like, as soon as I saw that trials to get the magnificent set, I was like, no, I'm not doing any of it. And so I sent a tweet out saying, please reconsider. And then Cosmo put something out, so I'm thinking maybe it was either I wasn't the only one who was saying, could you clarify this? So you can get the magnificent set without the glow during Solstice of Heroes. You do not have to do that last list. And that list was, let me see, I had it. I called it up here. It is complete a nightfall ordeal on master difficulty, complete a nightmare hunt, complete Pit of Heresy, win 7 trials matches not on a single passage, and complete a tier 5 Ultra Sorrow 3 times. Those 5 things give you glow for each one of those is attached to a particular armor piece, and fulfilling that requirement adds the glow to that armor piece. And you do not have to do that objective during Solstice of Heroes. You can work on it even after Solstice is over. Does that make sense?
but time gating aside, I don't want to try to win 7 trials matches.
No.
Right. Not only do I not want to try it, I think that at the state of trials is in now, it's impossible. That is not, and that's actually was part of my tweet. This is something that is impossible for me to do.
Impossible is a strong word, but I hear what you're saying.
Impossible without going into like an LFG trying to get someone to like, are you willing to carry my sorry ass
$50
trials?
$50 for a flawless.
However, there is one other thing that got clarified. This is only for the white glow. Once you have the magnificent set, Eververse is going to be selling for both silver and bright dust the colorful glow sets. And you do not have to have the white glow set to purchase the white
bright
glow
dust
set.
will buy me my 7 Trials of Osiris matches. Thank you, Salliebug, for looking that up. I hope it's true. I hope
it is true. And this was straight from Cosmo.
Okay.
So you can, if you're willing to fork out the money to, like, I'd rather fork out money. Not that I will, because I
yeah. What did we hear? It's like 10,000 bright dust or 50 or something like that. It's expensive.
But you do not need to spend money. You can use your bright dust, but if you don't have bright dust, you can buy those glows.
Cheaper than the $50 flawless, right?
You buy that, and when you buy that glow package, it will include stasis once stasis comes around in November. So,
ooh, yeah, I'm looking at the picture right now.
Awfully nice looking. And it's blue, by the way, Sooltime, not purple.
Okay, so I'm just going to catch us up here on the chat a little bit. Funny Bone mentioned, if players don't want sweaty matches, load into casual playlists. Well, so, I think we're going to come back next week with our experience, because we're going to try the ranked playlists or the competitive playlists this week. He also says losing feels worse than winning feels good. That's a Vin Scully quote coming from Funny Bone. I don't know whether that's actually a Vin Scully quote or not, or something he came up with, but is so humble that he wanted to attribute it to somebody great. Yeah, isn't the casual playlist CBMM? It is. It's connection-based matchmaking.
Right.
So if you're
if
you're in the
lower,
bottom 80%, you have a good chance of having a bad time, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the age-old problem, right, of skill-based versus connection-based. I know we're going back to this, but we'll end it here. But
can I just say, Salliebug, this coffee is amazing. And I just wanted to ask you, what kind of coffee is it? I'm really enjoying it.
This is like a shout out to our local coffee roasters right in the town that we live in. It is called Carpe Diem.
Indeed.
And I actually spend the money on the shipping because I haven't gotten brave enough to go and pick it up, but I think they do have a contactless pickup. So I will probably do that. But this particular is a combination of Sumatra and vanilla bean. And we get it whole bean and grind it.
It seems to soothe the soul at the same time, waking me up and making me more aware of my life's surroundings. That's very nice. You and
I are both fans of coffee that has just a little bit of flavor to it, but usually the flavored coffees that come are just too strong, and so we tend to get one that is non-flavored. I have new ones on the way that I'm really excited to try, and it's one of their blended, one of their non-flavored blends, and one of their flavored blends, and kind of toying around with the ratios of that. So that's...
This has been a coffee break brought to you by the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. Stay tuned for more Solstice of Heroes talk. Okay, getting back to Solstice of Heroes here, I've highlighted the 5 objectives. It says the Magnificent set has a final list of objectives to complete. And since there's 5 of them, Salliebug and Greenstego, I'm thinking maybe 1 per armor piece. Could that be?
Yeah, that's what that has been verified.
Okay.
Each one of these. And someone had said the Trials of Osiris one was boots. So I'm thinking, as you look down this list, helmet, arms, chest piece, legs,
class item.
Then class item. So, and again, for me, now that I know how it kind of works, I might get those. And this is all saying I have the time to get to do all the things you have to do to get to the Magnificent set in the first place. And we kind of don't other people have talked about what that grind is.
Tedious, boring.
Because they data mined it, but we don't know for sure exactly what you need to do. Personally, I think it should only be related to
Ava Levante.
The EAZ. Yeah, Ava Levante
EAZ.
bounties
Yeah.
and the EAZ. Because it seems silly to like go, I mean, I get it. You want your players to be well-rounded and go, spend time in other parts of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But this is and I guess it's a Solstice of Heroes. So it's just like, okay, we're, go out and do heroic things throughout the whole system. However, it's also an event related to this one thing. Like, why couldn't you just like level up your armor set based on just this one activity? I don't know. That it's a thought.
The actual tasks aren't so bad in my view, with the exception of one. And I bet you at this point you could guess what it is. It's complete a nightfall ordeal on the master difficulty. I'm sorry, are you going to say something, Salliebug?
I think we need to stop talking about these glows because we know that we can get them with bright dust. Start collecting bright dust. Start looking at all the different things you can do to get bright dust and get the glows that are colorful. Those look nicer.
Well, we don't know how much bright dust. How much bright dust does it cost? I mean, that's an issue.
We have no idea. But by the way, that glow gets stronger the more your super goes up. So they've even graded it, which I'm like, which
makes me want it more.
Right. So you think, right. So you're thinking that it's.
Did you catch it? Sounds like you were going after a fly.
So, yeah, I got distracted. She said, Fractious Heart said, I think it's supposed to be an end of year celebration, hand in hand with moments of triumph. So that makes sense. Yep. Like they want you to go out and do other things because you're celebrating all the things that the Destiny world has to offer, and they want you to experience it all. Mm-hmm. So that list of those 5 things is only to get the glow, but there are going to be other requirements to level up your armor, and we do not know what those requirements are.
So I know you don't want to. I know you don't want to talk about the glow, but I'm just going to say you have to also do a nightmare hunt. Run of Pit of Heresy, the 7 Trials of Osiris wins, not on a single passage, and 2, count them, 3 actually, Tier 5 Altars of Sorrows. Not bad at all for me personally. The only one that seems to be out of reach for me is these 7 Trials wins. Greenstego, I want to turn it over to you to see if you're attitude towards possibly considering maybe in some alternate universe or maybe in this one in which we live going after a complete magnificent set of Solstice of Heroes armor with glows.
The white glows? No. I could probably just get all of them except for the boots and then just promise myself that I will only wear exotic boots henceforth.
It's a great solution, and it's positive attitude. I like it. I'll drink to that. So here's my question for Salliebug again, a little clarification. I think we went over this, but I'm not sure I fully understand it. I'm wondering if I get the magnificent armor, I have a full set, I get all the white glows by doing the activities except for the boots, as Greenstego mentioned. And then I go up to Tess in Eververse there to see if she's heard from Fenchurch. I find out she hasn't. No word from him. And then I proceed to purchase that sort of blue aqua colored or the colored glow for the boots, right? I buy it. Is it just a single color, or does the color depends on which class I pick, right?
Your subclass, yes.
Yes, it depends on your subclass. So,
how about white glow? Do I get the white as well by purchasing the color?
No.
Oh.
You can't buy the white glow. In order to get the white glow, you have to do the 7. You have to do the 7 trials.
Yeah,
but
the
$50 for a flawless.
No, I don't know. I mean, some people really like the look of the white glow, and I'm not saying I don't like the look of the white glow, But since I know that's out of my reach,
it makes you like it less.
Yeah, it makes me like it less. And you know what? I'm all for the colored ones. I usually like pretty shiny colored things anyway. So I'm just hoping. I have no idea how much bright dust I have. I haven't been spending it willy-nilly. It's like, oh, that looks like a nice sparrow, but I don't know. But I don't have a ton of it, so I have no idea how much this is. I have vague memory of last season when this happened, during the last solstice, that I wasn't able to get all of what I wanted via bright dust. But avenues for getting bright dust have increased.
Yeah, they're not so bad.
So
it's grindy, but
so
doable.
It just maybe look at what all the different things that you can do that actually drop bright dust, and go and do those if you want some glow. So yeah, you can buy. I guess you buy one for each armor piece, and then that armor piece, that glow takes on the glow of whatever subclass whatever subclass you have on. The other thing is, which is kind of unfortunate, because if I'm saving my bright dust for those glows, because those sparrows and shit look amazing. I'm just saying that right now. Do you have that up on the screen? Scroll down a little bit and show those things.
I do. Those look amazing, but again, bright dust, and if you need to save your bright dust for glows.
Yeah, it will definitely be a having to choose.
We'll see. We'll see what the cost is too.
I like the sparrow on the bottom. I like the look of the sparrow on the bottom than the one on the top, but that's just me aesthetically.
I think the ghosts are goofy. I'm just gonna say. I know we discussed this before. I thought you could make one silly one because that's the tradition, and then make the other two match that sparrow and those sparrows and shit. Man, that would be cool. Then I would go after. I'd be more interested.
I'm not a big fan of the hat ghost.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little cultural appropriation going on in that middle one. I'm just saying. So.
Oh my gosh.
Salliebug.
Visor?
Yeah, the visor may be politically incorrect as well, I'm thinking. It's got the Microsoft Xbox logo on it.
The one on the left is like a nod to Texas, right?
Either that or the
definitely a cowboy feel. And what is it?
I thought it was the gangster era.
What did cowboys have to do with Solstice of Heroes? I don't know.
Oh, it's a nod to Cade 6 in another life.
At any rate, so yeah, I think we're gonna spend some time for next week. We will spend some time in the
competitive,
the skill-based competitive list
to
ranked.
See
what our experience is.
Yeah.
And see if it's any better, because technically that means I shouldn't be going up against anybody who is way higher than me, right? And so I have
technically speaking,
depending on who's queuing up that day.
Right. I don't know how it works. So my goal is to just get I want to get Randy's throwing knife. I know it's I know it's getting sunsetted, but it'd be nice to have for the next couple of months anyway. I like scout rifles, even though they're not the meta right now. I'm really enjoying them. I'm kind of reigniting my love for them, because that was like my go-to. Oh my God, if Vault of Glass comes back with Vision of Confluence, I will be in seventh heaven.
That was your baby.
That was the one I went in. That was the weapon. And I remember actually early on when I was just dipping my toe in the water of Crucible, Funny Bone said, forget meta, take the weapon that you know really well, and you know how to use it. And so I went in with Vision and Confluence, and I had a lot easier time, because you know how, like, if you take the weapon that you use a lot, you do know how it feels, you know how it works, you know what its handling speed is, you know how long it's going to take for you to aim down sights on. You almost
none of those things have ever helped me out.
You almost, like, but I think that, hear me out, I think some of the time it's like I don't realize I've made adjustments due to its recoil, but I have. Like, I just learned to, like, I remember with Mida learning how I needed to kind of point the reticle almost above their head to get the headshot, because of just the way it bounced down. So I think the more you use a weapon, the more you get used to what its nuances are. So
just like in real life.
That was a very good advice for someone who isn't really good at Crucible, to just stop trying to follow the meta and just take the gun that you love the most and use that, which may be the meta, who knows, but it may not be. I've actually haven't been spending a lot of time with any one particular weapon.
Stego, any last words before we wrap this thing up?
Win or lose, I hope that you guys have fun in the competitive Crucible. Okay?
That's very sweet.
And I'm look forward to hearing how the skill-based matchmaking that they preserved in the Glory Crucible ranks holds up.
Oh, those are some sweet last words. Salliebug, do you have anything final to say before we put this one in the bin?
Well, before the next time we meet, we'll have definitely dipped our toes in the competitive, but we'll also have Solstice of Heroes.
We'll have much more to say on that.
We'll have started in earnest, so we will see we didn't really talk about the EAZ at all and how it worked out last year, and I really enjoyed that. So it'd be fun to see whether or not it's similar, going around and trying to find all of those chests based on how many kills you got. It was fun. Similar fun to like the event in October, the October event. So
Festival of the Lost.
Yeah, the Festival of the Lost and the spooky. What is that called? My brain is gone. I need more coffee.
Spooky Tooth?
No, where you go
Infinite Forest.
Yeah, the
Spooky
Infinite
Forest,
but it's spooky, right?
The Haunted Forest.
That was the Haunted Forest. Was so much fun. So I do like that there's like these, and you know what it is? It's fresh, right? Instead of doing the same old stuff that you've been doing, you have something else that you can do that is a whole different game mode. And so I'm excited about it.
It doesn't take much to get us casuals excited. We just enjoy the environment and playing the game and going in and doing anything. I'm
excited. Two more weeks of non-casual playing, and then we'll be back to just our regular
will the
podcast
the big question is
hours a week.
Will the podcast survive? That's the big question. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and especially to Fractious Heart and Funny Bone for helping us out, and most of all to Greenstego for joining us. This has been episode 4 of the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. As always, you can find us on Twitter at ParacasualP, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that tiny little bell thing. We need the money. So this is our non-monetized.
We are educators.
This is our non-monetized way of saying thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.